Hello and welcome to this episode of My Safety Consultant. In this episode, we're going to be talking all about productivity tools. When I set up as a health and safety consultant, I did it for a few main reasons. I set it up for more flexibility, more time, and ultimately more money. And invariably, that just didn't work out how I'd planned. I ended up working twice as hard for half the money, and I was just run ragged. I remember having the hashtag on some of my posts, working 5 till 9, like a rip-off of the Dolly Parton song, working 9 till 5. I was like, who works 9 to 5? Those lucky people. Because as a consultant, I literally just seemed to work 7 days a week. I was working all the time. In fact, the joke of it was that I actually had some shirts in my car that I call car shirts. They were like still in the packet, because when I'd leave for work on a Monday morning, I wasn't always going to end up coming home that week. I would end up staying away so much and working so hard that I had to carry spare shirts in the car, right? And by the way, I'm not giving you the sob story. I'm just saying that I know a lot of consultants will be in the same boat. They'll go, right, I want more flexibility. I want more time. I'm going to work as a consultant because I want that freedom. The reality is anything but. You end up working weekends, you end up working all the hours that are available. And the real impact here is on family, it's on friends, it's like I wanted more time to spend with family, I wanted more time to spend with friends. I was annoyed at missing events and things like that. So I went, I'm going to set up as a consultant. Yeah, right, honestly, how naive. So productivity is a huge issue, right? Because as a consultant, if we can get some time back, we can actually start to take control of our life. And as a consultant, you've got a lot to do, because not only have you got like the fee earning work to do, but you've also got everything else around that, all sales, marketing, accounts, all of the other little bits that make up your business. So that's what we're going to talk about today. But first, just a bit of an update. So first of all, we got 34 subscribers on the YouTube channel, right? That's amazing. Honestly, thank you so much. I really, really appreciate it. If you're watching this and you haven't hit the like and subscribe button, please do it now. It doesn't cost you anything. It doesn't take a lot of effort, but it actually does make a huge difference to the success of the show, and it would be greatly appreciated. The other thing, love your comments. Honestly, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Got a couple of comments here. This one was on the video that I did on day rate from Mike McDermott. Good, clear, and concise. He's given it one of those. Great video. Mike, honestly, thank you very much. I really appreciate you, really appreciate your support. When I put this out as a blog in terms of day rate, Mike came back to me and said, you've not mentioned about VAT. Here's what I do. And he actually really helpfully sent me a calculator as to how he calculates day rate. Really, really helpful. So thank you very much. Hiusey, Hiusey. I think this is Ian Hughes. Detailed advice on setting contract prices, varying rates by job type, factoring in travel, and report writing time. Okay, that's been summarized, by the way, because he actually left a really, really detailed and lovely update. So thank you very much, Ian, for taking the time to write those comments on here. What Ian was talking about was not setting day rate, that he varies the rate for the actual contract itself, which I think is really helpful. I've had 2 people come back to me and say that. So I'm going to take that feedback that's been provided. I'm going to put it in the blog. And when we do an update video on this, which we will do within the next 12 months, I'm going to feed all those comments back in so we keep it constantly up to date. So final thing then, just before we run into the episode, we've got 2 cameras. You can see we're getting technical, right? So yeah, I've set up a second camera. This one's on my phone. I'm hoping this is going to work. I've got this camera up here, which is my just normal webcam. I'm going to upgrade this webcam, by the way, because it's a little bit blurry. So if anyone's got any tips of a decent webcam, let me know. It's the Black Friday sales coming up. I'm hoping to bag a bargain. So I'm going to upgrade it because at the moment it's 720p and I want to upgrade to high definition just because I think the quality will be a lot better. But yeah, second camera. Let's see how this goes. By the way, if I've just said all that and you're not seeing the flick between the 2 cameras, then it means that it didn't work and I had to give up on it. So, whoops. So, top productivity tools for safety consultants. Okay, we ran this as a webinar a little while ago. I was hoping to run webinars for our members of My Safety Consultant, but I just, for some reason, completely forgot. And I don't know why. You're all incredibly busy. So why not just put it out on YouTube for free? At the end of the day, You can watch it in your own time. You can listen to it in the car as you're driving along. Don't be watching videos, safety first. But it's there and it's available for whenever you want to. So we ran the webinar. Again, we had some really great feedback on the webinar from Malcolm Cook, MGC Services from down in Devon. Malcolm, thanks for your feedback. Really appreciate it. But I'm going to run through the key topics of what I ran through on the webinar. The only downside is on the webinar, I could actually do it and talk you through what I was doing in all of these tools as we went along. But hey, you can work it out. So the first thing for productivity, I know this is going to sound really simple. I've put about prioritizing local clients over national ones, right? I know sounds so silly, but when I set up as a safety consultant, I was so excited to get work, right, that I would travel all over the UK for that work if I could make it work. The problem was it was very short term over long term. So the issue being is that I was trying to fill gaps in my week with short term work. I wasn't looking at keeping this client over the next 10 years and how the business that I wanted to build was going to start to look or start to pan out with me taking on these clients from all over the UK. And that had some real problems, right? Because later on down the line, when they said, look, I need a review of this fire risk assessment or whatever it is, can you come back out? I was like, okay, but I wanted to last time, travel out to Jersey or somewhere like that and fly out from Exeter, which is what I did. But now I'm really busy and I don't want to fly back out to you again. So by the way, I would never say that to them, but it was just harder. Once I'd taken on those clients initially, they kept coming back to me and they were all over the country. And honestly, that was why I ended up spending so much time away from home. So my first top tip would be just take on local clients, take on clients that you're happy with. And if you are going to take on clients nationally, make sure it's worth it. Like if you're going to travel, make sure you get a few days work in that area to actually make it worthwhile. And another thing that I have to mention, you have to factor in unforeseen risk. So I'll give you an example. I'm based down in Somerset. I took on a client up in Norfolk. It's about a 7-hour drive for me, right? It's about as far can be. And because it was in the middle of nowhere in Norfolk, there was no way I could get the train, no way I could fly. It's like drive or nothing, okay? So I went and did the job. It was a fire risk assessment. Came home, 2 weeks later, had a phone call. They'd had a fire. It's like the worst thing that you want to hear as a fire risk assessor, right? And okay, keep me in the loop. No one was harmed, but it was a fire. And then the fire authority wanted to investigate. At the point that the fire authority wanted to investigate, I was asked to return back to site. So I now had another drive to do, 7 hours in each direction and time on site. And it was time on site that the client didn't want to pay for because they were like, well, isn't that part of the service? Right? So what initially seemed like an okay piece of work to fill a day actually ended up being a real nightmare. Now, it was fine. I got there, went through the fire risk assessment with the fire authority. They were happy. They said those words that every fire risk assessor wants to hear. I would deem your fire risk assessment suitable and sufficient. Thank you. But at the same time, it was just a massive amount of time. And it was something that I hadn't really planned in. Not only did I have to go there, but I also lost the day's work that I would otherwise had. So I ended up letting down another client. And I did that in a nice way, right? I said to them, look, we've had a fire on one site. If you'd been in that situation, we'd drop everything to make sure that we got to you and support you. So we're going to do that for this client. They were totally understanding on it. But of course, they don't pay you for time that you're not there. So these are things that you've got to consider. Okay, the next thing that I've got is about scheduling time with Calendly. Okay, I use HubSpot personally, but Calendly do a free version. There's a ton of other versions out there that you can Google and you can find them. But basically, it's a way that someone can make an appointment with you in your calendar and schedule a meeting, either via Zoom, via Teams, via Google Meets, like whatever online video conferencing software that you use. Now, again, when I go back in the day, someone would email me and say, hey, Pete, I think I need some safety advice. Maybe you can come out to site and meet me. And I'd be like, yeah, sure, great. You've contacted me. This is amazing. I've potentially got a client here. I'd travel out to site. So I book out pretty much a day out of my diary, right? Travel out to site, give it 45 minutes. I spend an hour on site having a cup of tea, 45 minutes back. Not only have I lost the fuel, I've lost the hour and a half travel time and I've lost the hour on site with the potential client. At no point have I qualified that client as a potential sale. So I've done all this time, I've put all this effort in, effort that I really could have spent elsewhere. And the client had no intention of paying me because they didn't like my day rate, or they didn't think it was urgent. It was just something that they were thinking about doing. And I'm the fool that's traveled out and wasted half a day. I would never do that now. I would just make an appointment with Calendly. So if I had an email, then, hey, Pete, can I get some time to chat to you about a problem? I would literally send them a Calendly link and a stock email back. You can make it personal and say, hi, Jane, blah, 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 blah. Thank you so much for getting in touch with me. You know, it's great that you've reached out to us. Yeah, I agree. That sounds serious. Let's have a conversation. Here's my Calendly appointment. Here's my calendar. Please book the first appointment that's available to you. And then we have literally a half-hour conversation. I don't have to leave the desk. I could do that at a time when I was sitting behind the computer doing paperwork anyway that I've scheduled to be at home and in the office. You can block out time using Calendly. So you can say, I'm not available at these times, and it will link to your calendar. So if you use a calendar in your iPhone or on your computer and you keep that up to date, it will only show the person trying to book the appointment with you when you're available. The next thing I'm going to talk about, ChatGPT. ChatGPT is the dreaded word at the moment. Okay. And it is particularly in safety. And the reason being is because people are trying to use ChatGPT for safety critical functions. Totally get it. Don't do that. It's a bad idea, right? It has hallucinations. It makes mistakes. It's a large language model which is trained on a ton of sources. And those sources aren't always safety sources, right? Some of them are, I don't know, social media, newspapers, generally what it scours off the internet. Don't use ChatGPT for safety critical functions. I will talk in a minute about Intuity. I will explain that as a productivity tool for you. But at the moment, let's talk about what ChatGPT is good for. You can use ChatGPT for a ton of things that aren't safety critical. So if you think about your time as a business owner, there's an awful lot of stuff that you do that's not safety, okay? Things like social media content, marketing, drafting client emails, task lists, organizing and prioritizing your to-do list, brainstorming business strategies, actually using it to think about how you're going to run, maintain, maximize your business. ChatGPT is phenomenal at all those things. So here's a couple of tips. Social media content creation. I'm not saying go onto ChatGPT and go, hey, ChatGPT, write me a social media post for today, right? Don't do that. That's a terrible idea. Everyone can see. It's going to have rocket ship emojis. It's going to have little asterisks everywhere. It's going to have words like leverage and boost and top tier. And it's going to have those really long hyphens that I'm sure there's a word for it. But, you know, I don't know, just don't do that. It's a silly idea. But you can say to ChatGPT, right? Hey, ChatGPT, I run a health and safety consultancy based in Somerset. This is what we offer. Can you give me an indication as the type of social media content that I should be putting out there, that I should be creating? And you can use it to create you a content calendar. And from that content calendar, you could say, okay, can you help me to craft a post on this? This is my ideas. This is what I think about it. Okay. And then afterwards you go, can you put a strong call to action in there for me? And then you change it because it will say, if you want to boost your business with super safety leverage or something that sounds terribly AI, you can change it. But at the same time, it takes, I would say, 90% of the work out of it for you. Drafting client emails, exactly the same. Oh my, I'm seeing this everywhere at the moment. Hi, Pete, I hope you're keeping well. Best regards, AI. You know, it's like, okay, come on. But what you can do is I will look at my emails in the morning. I would have, say, 10 emails come in, and I will say to ChatGPT, I'll give it a prompt, right? ChatGPT, you are a safety professional running a consultancy in blah, blah, blah. You're going to reply to some emails in a professional way. Here's the first email. I will dictate the response. And then you tell it what you want it to say, and it will just type it up for you. I literally talk into my computer. So if you use the little Windows button and H, it brings up a microphone box. You can speak and it will dictate like speech to text into ChatGPT, and I will talk and dictate my emails rather than spending hours and hours sitting there typing them out. I would never cut, copy and paste that into an email and send it to someone because, again, It looks so AI, but you can use it to get 90% of the way there. And what would have taken me hours and hours responding to 10 emails actually now takes me 20 minutes tops, because it will literally take all of the legwork out of what I'm trying to produce. To-do list, organizing tasks. Okay, this is my favorite thing to use ChatGPT for. If you go onto ChatGPT, right, you can get the free model, which I think is GPT 3.5, or you can get the paid model, which is 4.0. I think the paid model is like £19 a month or something like that, $19 a month, worth its weight in gold. I've already heard the prices of ChatGPT 5 is going to be an absolute fortune, and I'm not surprised because it's just a phenomenally powerful tool. But if you look, you can explore GPTs. If you use the paid model, you can explore GPTs. And I use one called Organizer to do all the time. And all I do is in the morning, I do a brainstorm of everything I've got to do. Everything from getting the car MOT'd, sorting out house insurance, to sorting my accounts out, downloading those invoices, respond to Dave's email, re X, Y, and Z, and write up all those risk assessments. And I will put all that into a to-do list, and I will say, can you organize this into a priority order for me? And it will organize your massive to-do list into a priority order. And then my next thing is, I want to achieve some quick wins to start the day. Can you give me the quick wins out of this list that I can use ChatGPT to help me complete? And it will pull probably half of your to-do list out, and it will say, I can help you to complete this by doing X, Y, and Z. You want to respond to those emails? I will help you do that. It literally halves my to-do list, and it's like talking to Jarvis from Iron Man. It's literally like having the little Iron Man AI helper, but on my computer, and it works. It works. So try it, give it a go. I promise you, it will save hours and hours and hours of time. The final thing, and this is a little bit more creative, but one of the things that I did when I started my consultancy was I wanted to get a business coach. The issue that I found is that, and by the way, LinkedIn is full of business coaches now. Everyone's a business coach on LinkedIn. But the problem that I found is that back then, one, they're really expensive, right? Thousands and thousands of pounds. And two, none of them know our industry. And our industry is so unique. It's so unique that it's really, really hard to get advice on. So I like using ChatGPT as a business coach. I can literally say to it, this is my business. This is what I do. You're a business coach. Give me some advice as the types of things that I should be thinking about. And it will give you a list of things that you need to be thinking about. And I'll go, okay, point number 3, increase turnover by doing X, Y, and Z. Okay, let's explore that. Talk to me more about that. How would I use that? How would that look in my business? And literally have a conversation with it. And I know some of you are probably watching this now thinking, Pete, you're really weird. But I promise you, give it a go. It really, really does work. It's a massive time saver, and it's really helpful at the moment. And there's just no doubt that it's just going to get better and better. Okay, Intuity now. So you'll know that I work for Intuity.io as well as running My Safety Consultant. Intuity of tech. I can just see how powerful technology is going to be in safety in the future in terms of collaboration, sharing data, sharing knowledge. It's just going to be so powerful. But this is one for the health and safety consultants. As My Safety Consultant members, you have access to Intuity. And if you don't use it, you really, really should. So what Intuity is, it's a phenomenal AI tool that takes all of the data, all of the available HSE information, all the guidance, all the publicly available safety guidance. You can run a risk assessment through the system, and it will undertake, in your case, a really, really powerful peer review of that risk assessment. That could be phenomenal as a consultant, because it's like a really intelligent pair of eyes looking over your shoulder going, have you missed anything? I'm sorry, it's not available for the fire risk assessors yet. I would love to make it available to fire risk assessors though. But at the moment, it's really powerful for health and safety consultants. So if you haven't used that yet and you're a member of My Safety Consultant, if you don't have your login, drop me a message. That's fine. info@mysafetyconsultant.io. If you have access and you haven't used it, get on it, give it a go. And if you're struggling with it, just reach out to me and give me a shout. You can reach out to me on LinkedIn, Peter Thomas, MSc. and I will do my best to help you, talk you through it, whatever you need, because it is a phenomenal bit of kit in terms of performance. And one of the reasons why we don't use ChatGPT before, as I said, because of how the large language model is trained. Intuity is trained only using safety information. So there's no other information in it to allow it to make a mistake. That's the difference. Okay, I've got a final thought. This one's a little bit left field, but I'm going to say it anyway. TasksExpert. Virtual assistants. Even if you don't use TasksExpert, have a look, do your own research. There's tons of virtual assistants. In terms of a productivity hack, being able to take a portion of your work that you do and outsource it to another organization at a discounted rate, but without having all of the issues of getting an employee or having all of that stuff, all the tax and national insurance. Being able to outsource a portion of work to a virtual assistant is phenomenal. And I was listening to a book a little while ago, The 4-Hour Work Week by Tim Ferriss. Phenomenal book, really, really interesting. One of the chapters that he talks about in there is about outsourcing stuff to virtual assistants. I would give that book a read. Or he's actually got a podcast, the Tim Ferriss podcast, and I'm going to drop the link in the show notes below so you can have a listen to a podcast episode that talks all about virtual assistants, the power of virtual assistants, and really how to manage that process of outsourcing stuff to a VA so that you get the most out of it, you get the most efficiency. But I've used a number of VAs over the years. One of my favorites by far has to be TasksExpert. And TasksExpert have given me a discount code, which I can pass on to my safety consultant members through the show notes below. I think at first you get an 8-hour free trial. So you can go on their website, have a look at all the services that they offer. Because you know what, this service, say it's social media, for example, this takes up an awful lot of my time. I can outsource that at 5 hours a week and it'll cost me £X. Worth it all day long. But they will also give you a free trial, 8 hours free trial. Give it a go. See how you get on with that service. So here's the thing for me. These are just my final thoughts. Genuinely, getting the productivity right is absolutely going to make or break your business. This is such a huge topic. I see so many consultants that they spend so much time on their business and they go, do you know what? If I just get that next big client, next week, next month, next year, it's going to be different. And then I will start to focus on all the things that I need to focus on. At the moment, it's busy, but everyone's busy, right? When they run a business, everyone's got this hustle culture. Everyone's got this thing that they're pushing. And then they lose the work-life balance, and then their health starts to deteriorate, and then their mental health starts to deteriorate. And I had it myself. I was working away so much. I was sitting in the car driving for hours. I would eat fast food all the time. I became so unhealthy, so miserable. My mental health started to suffer. And honestly, I just felt like I was making a mess of everything. And I didn't need to. I could have just improved productivity, taken on the right clients, and actually started to make this work-life balance. Because, to me, there was never like, next year. It was just bigger contracts meant bigger problems. And I've told you in another episode when I took on a contract for a European tour operator, I had consultants traveling around Europe. Instead of having problems where someone was stuck in traffic on the M5, I'd have someone miss a flight in Germany and I'd have to sort that out at 1 a.m. when I was in France. The problems, they didn't get easier as I got bigger. My problems, when I started out small, they grew with the company. So as my company grew, as my consultancy grew, those problems just got bigger and harder to deal with. So this is really important stuff. I think if we can start to look at productivity hacks now, and that term hacks, it makes it sound like a cheat. It's not. It's just about making the most out of your work time so that you can really ring fence your personal time for family, time for you to work on you, to be healthy and to live the life that you want and to get the balance in that consultancy, which is, let's face it, that's the reason why many people set up a consultancy in the first place. Thank you very much. If you got any value from this, please drop me a comment below. Please hit that like and subscribe button. And please go and check out mysafetyconsultant.io. Our updated website should be live later this week. Really exciting times. Thanks so much.